The beaver explodes in fury. It twists, clamping its chisel-like teeth into his thigh. The sound is a raw, sickening crack, like a tree branch snapping, except it's flesh and maybe bone.
Imagine walking and you see a beaver and you decide to pick it up and it start chomping on you. And all you hear is bone cracking inside of you. You know how scared I would be, bro? I'll be running around, bro. Matter of fact, yo, I don't even know what I would do to that animal, bro. The most painful animals attack ever recorded.
It was the evening of March 25th, 2017.
Okay.
25-year-old Akbar Salubiro went out to harvest palm oil near his village in central Sulawesi, Indonesia. He never came back. That night, some villagers said they heard faint, strange cries from the grove, but in the heavy darkness, no one could find where they came from. 2 days later, the search ended in horror. On the ground lay a massive reticulated python, over 7 meters long, around 23 feet. Its midsection bulged unnaturally.
You got eaten by a python. Do you know how dangerous a python is? And then on top of that, it's a 7 feet python. So you're cooked. And what are you doing out this late in the tree trying to cut something? Me personally, I would have been inside sleep. That's just me though.
Stretched skin, you could see the outline of a human body, and at one end, the tips of Akbar's boots. The villagers killed the snake, and in front of a silent crowd, cut it open. Inside, Akbar was still fully clothed, his body crushed but intact. This became the first fully documented case in history of a reticulated python swallowing an adult human, complete with photos and video that went viral worldwide. His wife wasn't even home that night. She found out what happened from those same viral photos. Experts believe it wasn't random. As palm oil plantations replace rainforest, giant pythons lose their prey and territory, forcing them into closer contact with people. Reticulated pythons are the world's longest snakes, ambushing prey before coiling around it to stop blood flow.
I ain't gonna lie, I'll probably be scared of pythons. I mean, I am scared of pythons, but me personally, I would not go out at nighttime just to go get something from a tree and the next thing you know, I see a python right there. No.
Swallowing it whole. His last moments likely began with a sudden strike to his legs, followed by the crushing coils tightening around his chest, until he could no longer breathe. Then came the slow, deliberate swallowing that pythons are built for. It was the morning of April 28th, 2016, when 23-year-old Alex Bessler and his friend Sonia set out for a short hike on Arizona's Merkle Trail. The desert air was still, the sun warm, until a dark shape appeared in the sky. At first it seemed like a cloud, but within seconds it was buzzing, swirling, and charging straight at them. They were Africanized killer bees, and they weren't looking to scare anyone off. Sonia sprinted away, shouting for Alex to run, but the swarm was faster. Hundreds of bees clung to his face, neck, and arms, while thousands more hovered and struck at every patch of skin they could find.
You know how scary that is? Imagine walking and the next thing you know, you just hear a buzz, a bee. Imagine just walking and then you just hear a bunch of bees coming directly at you and they stinging you one by one. Me personally, I would have jumped straight into the water.
Pain was instant and brutal, each sting like a hot needle pressing into his skin. Then it multiplied again and again until it felt like the air itself had turned into stingers. His body began to swell, burn, and itch all at once. Breathing grew harder, his chest tight, his throat starting to close. Park rangers and hikers rushed to help, but couldn't get close. The bees attacked anyone who came near, even with protective gear and leaf blowers to push them back. The swarm barely thinned. By the time rescuers reached Alex, he had been stung over 1,000 times.
Imagine getting stung 1,000 times. Me personally, I will never. First of all, why is you walking in the desert? It's hot out there. There's no water, there ain't nothing. Why is you walking in the desert? Me personally, you'll not catch me there.
He was rushed to the hospital in critical condition, his body shutting down from the sheer volume of venom. The official cause of death: multiple organ failure and respiratory arrest from massive envenomation and anaphylactic shock. In minutes, the venom had overwhelmed his system, collapsing his organs and stopping his breathing.
Where's the doctors with the anti-venom? I thought they milk snakes for stuff like this. Where is the doctor for that? You really think putting him on the bed of a hospital really gonna save him? No.
The tragedy was a wake-up call. Warning signs soon appeared at trailheads, advising hikers how to spot and avoid bee activity. But for Sonia, who escaped only to watch her friend consumed by that swarm, it was a moment she could never forget.
Damn.
Spring 2024, a quiet rural road in Russia. A
Okay.
group of friends pull over by a small river. Near the bank sits a massive, sturdy-built beaver. Someone laughs, "Let's get a selfie." One man edges closer, then closer still, until he actually tries to lift the animal. The beaver explodes in fury. It twists, clamping its chisel-like teeth into his thigh. The sound is a raw, sickening crack, like a tree branch snapping, except it's flesh and maybe bone.
Imagine walking and you see a beaver and you decide to pick it up and it start chomping on you. And all you hear is bone cracking inside of you. You know how scared I would be, bro? I'll be running around, bro. Matter of fact, yo, I don't even know what I would do to that animal, bro.
Imagine a steel hammer with a razor edge slamming into your leg, cutting straight to the bone in a single strike. Blood erupts instantly, hot and fast. The beaver has severed the femoral artery, a
Yo.
direct pipeline from the heart that can drain a person's life in under 2 minutes.
This is exactly why you don't pick up animals that you don't know. Just because the beaver's sleeping, you think it's all cool to pick him up? And on top of that, he bit the most important thing in your body. You got 2 minutes to survive. In that case, GG's, back to the gulag.
Man stumbles back, eyes wide in shock, the ground beneath him turning dark red. His friends scream, hauling him toward the car, but the blood gushes like an open tap. He grows pale, weak, and within moments, loses consciousness. By the
Yo.
time they reach the nearest village, it's over. Fatal beaver attacks are almost unheard of, but these animals will defend themselves, especially in spring when they guard their territory and young.
Yo.
On September 21st, 2014, 22-year-old Darsh Patel was hiking with 4 friends in the Apshawa Preserve,
Right.
West Milford, New Jersey, a
Right.
place locals thought they knew well. Black bears were common here, but fatal encounters, never.
Me personally, you're not finding me there. It's black bears over there? I'm not going over there, bro. It's over with. I'm not going.
Midway along the trail, the group spotted a large black bear about 100 feet away. Instead of leaving immediately, curiosity took over. They began snapping photos. Darsh snapped several selfies as the bear edged closer, each
Right.
frame showing it filling more and more of the shot. They eventually turned to walk away, but the bear kept following. When it closed to within 5 meters, about 16 feet, fear
Bro, I would never trust a bear, bro. It could be a cub. I don't care. I'm not trusting a bear, bro, because bears could easily just change any time of the day, bro.
turned to panic. Someone shouted to run. That split-second choice would prove fatal. Running can flip a predator's instinct into overdrive. To a bear, it's not fear it sees, it's prey fleeing. Darsh was soon separated from his friends. Imagine
Yo.
sprinting through thick woods, breath fogging in the cool air, every rustle behind you sending a spike of terror through your chest. Then, footfalls heavier than your own. The ground starts to tremble. Black bears can hit 30 miles an hour.
What? You heard that? But 30 miles per hour. Think about that real quick. The fastest man in the world only hits 20, 21, 23. And think about that. A bear's 30.
Impact is like a battering ram, the claws like hooked knives, the jaws able to crush bone. 2 hours later, search teams found Darsh's body, torn and lifeless, with the bear
Yo.
still circling and guarding it. Police had to shoot the animal on the spot. The attack shocked New
Yo.
Jersey. It was the first fatal bear encounter ever recorded in the state, despite its dense bear population.
Wait, so you're telling me all these deaths, it's literally the first person that died, and that's why we know about them? So this is why exactly we don't mess with bears? It's because of him. Only of you, soldier.
Even one wrong instinct can make the difference between going home and not coming back.
Oh my gosh.
Cynthia Dikama, 61, and her husband, Keith, paddled a 14-foot canoe through Tiger Creek near Lake Kissimmee on a warm May morning in 2025. The water was barely 2.5 feet deep, so
Right.
still it mirrored the sky like a perfect sheet of glass.
Right.
Then, an eruption. They had unknowingly glided over an 11-foot, 4-inch alligator in a
Imagine gliding over an 11-foot alligator. You know how scary that is? And once an alligator bites, they're not gonna let go until you're dead.
single explosive surge. The reptile heaved upward, slamming into the canoe and flipping it like a toy. Both
Yo.
were hurled into the water. Cynthia came down directly on top of the gator. In that instant, before she could scream, it clamped its jaws around her torso. The pressure was unimaginable.
Yo! So you telling me the alligator snapped the boat in half? She landed on top of the alligator, and before she even get to scream or react, she's cooked.
As if an iron vice was crushing her ribs inward while serrated teeth tore into flesh. She was yanked under so fast that her last view was the fractured sunlight above, shattering into bubbles. Keith lunged toward the swirl, his hands grasping only empty water as the ripples closed. The
Bro, screw all that. Screw all that. There's no looking for me. There's no looking, bruh. If it was me... I'm running. I'm gone.
massive shape lingered below, circling, while Keith fought his way to shore, yelling for help. By afternoon, rescue divers recovered Cynthia's body, still close to where the gator prowled. Wildlife officers trapped 2 large alligators from the area, but all evidence pointed to that 11-foot brute. Experts believe it wasn't hunger, but territorial fury in spring mating season that triggered the attack.
Yo.
It was January 26, 2001, Pacific Heights, San Francisco. Diane Whipple, 33, a celebrated lacrosse coach, stood in the narrow hallway outside her apartment, juggling grocery bags, keys clinking in her hand. From the opposite end of the hall came Marjorie Knoller, straining to hold back 2 massive Presa Canarios.
Imagine getting killed by a dog. I ain't gonna lie, just to say, you know, if I see 2 black dogs or 2 big dogs, me personally, my instinct is gonna be instantly try to protect myself. Because big dogs like that, oh no, you got it. You got it, you got it, you got it, you got it.
A 130-pound brute of muscle, and Hera, slightly smaller but just as intimidating. The hallway was barely wide enough for 2 people to pass. Then, an explosion of power. Bane lunged, his jaws locked on Diane's neck. Hera tore at her clothing, teeth finding flesh. The sound was a sickening mix. Deep breath.
I ain't mean to laugh, but damn though. No way the hallway was this small to the point that both y'all can't pass. And there's 2 big dogs. I ain't gonna lie, me personally, I wouldn't even pass either. I ain't gonna, if I see 2 big dogs coming, oh no, you got it. Come first. You come first. Yeah, not me, you.
Owls, tearing fabric, and Diane's screams echoing off the plaster walls. She fought.
And then on top of that, I bet the woman who was holding those dogs couldn't even do nothing, because when girls hold dogs, they are weak.
Back, but every movement only triggered another bite. Presa Canarios have jaws like steel traps, designed to hold, crush, and not let go. In minutes, her body was covered in over 75 wounds, sparing only her scalp and the soles of her feet. She bled heavily, the metallic scent filling the air. By the time rescuers reached her, she was barely conscious. In the ER, doctors fought to replace the blood pouring from her shredded arteries, but the trauma was too great. She was pronounced dead. The horror didn't end in that hallway. Bane and Hera belonged to Knoller and her husband, Robert Noel, but the dogs had been raised for intimidation, linked to a violent Aryan Brotherhood member serving time. Had called them dogs of death. Diane herself had told friends she felt unsafe near them. Bane was euthanized immediately after the attack. Hera, a year later. Knoller was convicted of second-degree murder on the rare legal principle.
Y'all don't gotta kill the dog, though. Why I gotta kill the dog? Just because the dog killed somebody doesn't mean y'all gotta kill the dog, too. Let the dog live.
Of implied malice. Noel was convicted of involuntary manslaughter. The case rewrote California's dangerous dog laws. So there you have it. 6 encounters where nature didn't just whisper danger, it roared, hissed, and bit its way into history.
Alright, YouTube, that's the end of the video. If y'all boys made it this far, make sure y'all boys like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notification. You feel me? I catch y'all boys in the next one. Yeah.